If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Darth Vader and Lord Voldemort. They're the villains of two of the most popular stories in living memory. And if you think about it, they're a lot alike. They come from humble beginnings. One is a slave, the other an orphan. They both lose their mothers at a young age and have no relationship with their fathers. And they start out as smart, super talented youths who shock their worlds by choosing the dark side or the dark arts. Their transformations take a toll on their dashing good looks. Voldemort takes on a variety of deformed shapes and splits his soul into Horcruxes. Vader puts on his armor and wears it the rest of his life after he's wounded in a fight with his former mentor. And the two lords come to represent ultimate darkness or evil. Just the mention of their names can make your blood run cold.
We do not speak his name.
They're the Dark Fathers that Harry and Luke need to vanquish after resisting the temptation to follow in their evil footsteps. So both are walking cautionary tales. They're dehumanized by trauma, pain, and hatred, and they become monsters.
He's more machine now than man.
But behind that black, skull-like mask and dark cloak, there's just a weak, miserable person we should pity because they never understood the power of friendship and love. Before we go on, be sure to hit subscribe and click the bell to get notifications on all of our new videos. The big question for Vader and Voldemort is how and why did the most evil person become evil? Was it nature or nurture, or more likely a bit of both? Vader and Voldemort know they're extremely talented and special from a young age.
I can make things move without touching them.
I'm the only human who can do it.
And they have crazy high levels of ambition. They won't be satisfied letting their gifts go to waste.
Protection is a job for local security, not Jedi.
I fashioned myself a new name, a name I knew wizards everywhere would one day fear to speak when I became the greatest sorcerer in the world.
But this starting personality of a bright boy with outsized potential interacts with a hostile, damaging environment.
When I first met young Mr. Riddle, he was a quiet, albeit brilliant boy committed to becoming a first-rate wizard. Not unlike others I've known. Not unlike yourself, in fact. If the monster existed, it was buried deep within.
And for both, a complicated relationship to love is a big part of what drives them to the dark side. Voldemort, as Tom Riddle, was born into a totally loveless marriage. His witch mother actually used a love potion to get his muggle father to marry her. Tom's mother died when he was a baby and he grew up in an orphanage, not knowing about his wizard heritage.
In all the years Tom's been here, he's never once had a family visitor.
He didn't get the care and attention he needed at this formative stage.
I can make bad things happen to people who are mean to me. I can make them hurt.
So by the time he got to Hogwarts, it may have already been too late to reach him and show him what it felt like to be loved. Anakin also loses his mother, and when she's kidnapped and killed, this is the moment when Anakin decides to massacre the Sand People, a key point in his turning to the dark side. But while Voldemort never really learns how to love, in George Lucas's own words, Anakin's undoing is that he loveth too much. When he's worried he'll lose his pregnant wife Padme, Palpatine convinces Anakin he has to turn to the dark side to save her life.
Just help me save Padme's life. I can't live without her.
So Anakin's strong love is manipulated and used by the cruel world around him. But it's also clear that Anakin doesn't understand how to love.
Love won't save you, Padme. Only my new powers can do that.
And how to let go of those he loves in a healthy way. He feels so strongly but ends up putting his passion in the wrong place so that it's actually destructive. In the end, Anakin and Tom Riddle turn evil because they don't understand how to have normal, loving relationships with the people around them, and they don't acknowledge how important this is. Voldemort and Vader are both obsessed with immortality.
But only I can live forever.
To cheat death is a power only one has achieved. But if we work together, I know we can discover the secret.
And this could be because they both lost their mothers at a young age and understand how traumatizing death really is.
I won't lose you the way I lost my mother.
So while we can't forgive the terrible things they do or relate to the terrible people they become, we know that their darkness came from a place of real pain. Another thing they have in common is an obsession with a young son figure, which they want to destroy. As we all know, Vader is literally Luke's father. No! Whereas Voldemort is not related to Harry by blood. But Voldemort is still like a twisted father figure to our young wizard, because when he tries to kill Harry, he inadvertently passes on some of his traits, like the ability to speak Parseltongue. And he makes Harry the seventh Horcrux, so Harry contains a piece of Voldemort's soul, just as a child carries on his parents' genes. In a way, Harry's scar is like a birthmark from his dark father. So both Luke and Harry have some darkness in them because of their connection to these evil, powerful men.
You're gravely mistaken. You won't convert me as you did my father.
Not Slytherin, eh? Are you sure? You could be great, you know.
That connection makes the young boys special, but it also makes them fear that they might turn to the dark too. And it places a huge burden on these young boys to bring down a much stronger father figure. Both stories are fundamentally about a son figure growing into his own and overcoming that dark father as he chooses his adult path. It's relevant to remember that Vader and Voldemort also grew up with daddy issues of their own. Anakin never had a father.
There was no father.
Tom Riddle hated his dad for abandoning the family, and even more for being a muggle and making Tom a half-blood.
Surely you didn't think I was going to keep my filthy muggle father's name.
Although it's likely that his hatred for muggles and half-bloods comes from hurt over his father's absence and a resulting self-hatred. So in a way, both are taking out their personal shame and anger on their new son figures. The archetype of the Dark Father represents not accepting death and the passage of time, and they see these young men as usurpers, threatening their goal of living forever. They want to turn their sons into their servants.
Together, we'll do extraordinary things.
With our combined strength, we can end this destructive conflict and bring order to the galaxy.
Or else kill them. Vader and Voldemort are ultimate villains, but they're also pathetic, weak old guys. They're very physically weak and vulnerable. They're obsessed with their reputations, but they're outraged to find that they don't get the respect they feel they deserve. Not from their servants.
I confess myself disappointed. Not one of you tried to find me.
Their employees.
Don't try to frighten us with your sorcerer's ways, Lord Vader.
Or from Vader's boss.
Take your father's place at my side.
Voldemort doesn't have a superior, and we can still see a bit more of the man in Vader, whereas Voldemort is more purely true evil by this point. So Voldemort could be seen as kind of a Vader plus Emperor Palpatine. Like the Emperor, Voldemort is brought down by overconfidence, and he totally disdains and underestimates the value of friendship.
Should I divulge how I truly lost my powers? It was love.
Your overconfidence is your weakness.
Your faith in your friends is yours.
In the end, whatever it is that drives Voldemort and Vader to the dark side is also what allows the son figure to succeed. Voldemort doesn't know how to love, so he doesn't think love matters. Again, like the Emperor, he haughtily believes that the love of common people could never be a match for sophisticated evil magic.
How is it that a baby with no extraordinary magical talent was able to defeat the greatest wizard of all time?
So he's overlooked that love, family, and friendship are the most powerful ancient magic we know.
You're the weak one, and you'll never know love or friendship. And I feel sorry for you.
Anakin's original weakness was loving too much, and Luke appeals to his father's compassion.
I feel the good in you, the conflict.
So love brought him to the dark side, but then it also redeems him and brings him back to the light. For most of these stories, Vader and Voldemort insist on the power of the dark side, but by the end, they reveal its failings. The most powerful, intimidating, godlike men in these stories fall, because no individual is truly strong without love in his life.
Pity the living. And above all those who live without love.
It's Deborah.
And Susanna, and you're watching Screen Prism.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
If you like this video, please subscribe for more insights about all of your favorite movies and shows.
Down here.